Hi, Dr. De La Torre. Today I made gorditas and sopa de fideo with my friend Lana. Lana and I met a few months back when she started working at the Starbucks that I've been working at for 8 years. She's about 20 years older than me, and so she has a lot more cooking experience. Every week, she would tell me about the delicious food that she would make for her family, from wings to Puerto Rican dishes to prime rib. All of it sounded so good, but I told her I don't really cook well and I'm afraid to handle raw meat. So usually I'll just make some rice-a-roni at home. She said, yeah. I know this assignment asks us to interview a family member, but I saw an opportunity to learn more about and from my friend. So I asked Lana if she would teach me to cook a meal that is close to her heart, and she said, gorditas, of course. Part of my decision to ask Lana to help me was due to a sad personal event. My partner's beloved tia Araceli passed away just last weekend in Aguascalientes. So Edgar's mom flew home to help Araceli's family for possibly a couple of months. As someone who grew up in this Indiana town, people from work or church would often bring grieving families food. But as an immigrant family in a suburban area, I realized that Edgar's parents don't have access to a community network like that here. Since his mom does all the cooking and has not passed on that knowledge to her children, her absence often leads to food insecurity for the family. So I asked Lana to help me make a meal for my partner's family as they grieve and navigate mealtime. First, we made sopa de fideo. This is a thin spaghetti soup that I always enjoy when Edgar's mom makes it. But I've never known how to make it myself, so it was really exciting to learn the simple ingredients that go into it. It's also fun to learn the instructions for browning the noodles with onions for flavor before adding the liquid and blending the tomatoes and garlic. I want to preface by saying that there were no measuring cups, recipe cards, or timers in sight today. Lana emphasized that being a good cook is knowing what you want your food to taste like and what ingredients will get you there, so the ingredients and instructions are just guesstimates. Next, she taught me how to make salsa by showing me about how much of the different ingredients we could use for both flavor, spice, and color. First, we pan roasted all the produce except for the fresh cilantro. Then we blended the roasted produce and fresh cilantro together without water. The picture of the end result is not the best, but it really was so colorful and robust. Then it was time to begin the gorditas. The meat was the scary part for me, but Lana was very sweet and picked out beef for carne picada, which was pre-chopped, and we didn't even have to touch the raw meat. Lana showed me how to make sure it was seasoned enough and made sure that we cooked it until it was a little blackened for maximum flavor and minimum scaries. Next, it was time to make the dough. We used mozzarella from blue corn, which was a lot of fun for me. Aside from chips, it was my first experience with blue corn masa. To mix the dough, Lana kindly offered me a spoon because she worried I wouldn't feel comfortable using my hands, but that was impossible, and it was fun to knead the dough anyway. And then I got to make balls from the dough and then use a tortilla press for the first time to flatten them. Lana taught me that you need a barrier between the press plates and the dough, or else you can't get the flat dough out. I wouldn't have thought of that. I forgot our plastic squares one time, and I learned very quickly why we need them. It was fun to watch the gorditas cook on the comal, and it looked like water evaporating off of cement. Since my fingers are kind of numb after working at Starbucks so many years, I managed to flip a couple of them and get them off the comal. Next, it was time to fry our gorditas. Lana uses avocado oil for frying because it tastes good and is a little bit healthier. I didn't realize that masa mixtures separate like that when fried, so watching the gorditas puff up was really fun, and I was too busy watching and forgot to take a picture. Some of them didn't puff up, so we just used them for tacos, and that was just as yummy. I was also not very good at cutting the circumference. I'll have to practice that. Finally, we were ready to stuff the gorditas with beans that Lana had made the day before, meat, and top them with cheese. We got to sit down and enjoy some sopa de fideo and gorditas with fresh salsa for lunch before packaging everything up to give to Edgar's family. I hope I have another cooking with Lana opportunity someday. While talking with Lana, it was clear that this was a family recipe that she learned from her parents and that she passed on to her adult daughter who lives in New York. She said my daughter would be so jealous if she knew that we were making gorditas. She would eat so many in one go. And she makes these foods now too. When we were talking about her upbringing, Lana said that food was everything in her house. She could tell if her parents were in a good or a bad mood based on the food that they cooked for the kids. While we made our meal, it was clear that gorditas are a labor-intensive, time-consuming dish. Lana explained that her parents didn't really communicate feelings through words very well, but if they made you a dish like gorditas, it was their way of saying, I love you. This reminded me kind of like water for chocolate and how Tita's emotions are infused into the food that she cooks and felt by whoever eats her food. When I watched the film, I didn't quite understand the importance of that aspect, but I think that after learning about how so many Mexican dishes preserve their cultural significance through their labor-intensive preparation, it makes sense that those dishes are also often an expression of love when someone chooses to put in that labor to serve others. Thank you.